So first things first, when you get the email for the assignment and parent log, it's going to be a view-only file. So you are going to have to make a copy. To do that, you'll do File, Make a Copy, and then my suggestion is to go ahead and already rename your file from here to your correct name. As you see, I'm going to go ahead and use Mr. B's. Once you've gone ahead and done that and it's open, you can go ahead and close the original. Just a little bit of housekeeping to make things a little bit neater. I am going to alternate colors, so the way that you can change that, because I left it at a like a tealy color, you'll go to Format and then Alternating Colors. From there, you can choose whichever color scheme that you'd like that's given, but you can also, on the right-hand side, play with the different colors and make it your own. So I gave everybody 4 different options for the assignment and parent log, just because it kind of depends on how much work you want to do at the very beginning versus on the day-to-day. So your high tech is you're going to front load all of your information, and then it's just a lot of clicking as we go through potentially all 10 weeks or just the 2 weeks, whereas the medium tech takes the high tech and brings it down just a little bit. So you do have to do a little bit more work on the day-to-day. In your low tech, you're doing quite a bit of work every single day, depending on how much you front load at the very beginning, or if you just, when I was putting this together, it did take me a little while to wrap my head around all of that. If you just want to know what information Dr. Rico Watson is wanting from us every single week, that would be your headers only, and then you can decide how you're going to arrange all of that. So because there's 4 different options, I do expect this video to be a little long. So because of that, I am going to be inserting some timestamps in right about here. So that way you can go ahead and fast forward to the parts that you're interested in, and you don't have to watch the whole thing. I am going to go ahead and start off with the headers only and then move my way up. It makes the most sense, so that way if I'm missing anything, I can kind of remind myself later on. So what we're looking at for your headers only is the day. Which day are we talking about? Who did we contact? So which student did we contact? Who did we contact? The parent or the student, depending on what grade you're in. I mean, the littles are going to just be contacting parents. The bigger kids are going to be, they do have the ability to contact the student themselves based on the platform. How did you contact them? Whether it was text, email, phone, over the Remind platform, Dojo, Exact Path, whatever the platform may be. What date did we contact them? The notes for the contact, and we went over this in the meeting, is going to be particularly helpful to myself, Miss Knight, Mrs. Schwab, and Dr. Rico Watson when we're reaching out to parents to see what's going on with the students if they're not turning in their work. So that way we have some evidence notes to go back and reference during those points of contact. Assignment 1, remember, we're only doing 2 assignments for the week. It's a really simple, either yes, they did it, no, they didn't. The assignment grade, that's kind of for you, but it also kind of gives your pod leader, your group leader, a kind of springboard to jump off of, just in case we are having to make that additional contact. So assignment 1, did they do it, yes or no? Here's the grade. Assignment 2, did they do it, yes or no? Here's the grade. So that's really simple with your headers only. The great thing about doing this online is that if you put in your student name and then you click on the arrow and you duplicate it, it's going to give you whatever edits you do in this screen, it's going to put it onto your copy. So if I put Jose, Maggie, Sarah, and then I make a copy of that, those same edits are going to appear in both spots. In the event that we do end up going further than the 2 weeks, what I would advise from week to week is that once you're done, let's say that you went with the headers only, you renamed it to March, you did March, tomorrow's the 23rd through the 27th. Once you've filled out this form, your group leader has seen it, when we make a copy going forward from March 30th to April 1st, after you've made that copy, you always have the ability to hide the sheet so that way it goes, you're not seeing it on a week-to-week basis if you don't want to. So it does, Sheets is going to give you this prompt here as to what happens to all these hidden sheets. All you have to do is click on the 4 little lines, and if you click on the sheet again, it'll become reactive. So that is going on. That's what's going on with your headers only. Low tech. So the difference between this one, your headers only, and low tech is that this first bar is frozen, and I've already input the days of the week. So the idea behind this sheet is that, again, we're gonna go with Jose, Maggie, and Sarah. Once I've done that, I'm going to use these 4 or 5 spaces to only talk about my contact with Jose. Those 4 spaces will be Jose, Maggie, and then again Sarah. And of course, you would add all of your students in. This sheet, the way I have it set up, I want to say has the ability to hold up to 20 different students. If you needed to add more, especially for the upper grades where you're dealing with multiple grade levels all at the same time. My recommendation, of course, would be to have 1 sheet per grade level, but if you didn't want to, you wanted to have all the kids together. In order to make this continue in its pattern, you do have to highlight 2 separate weeks. You would grab the dark square down here and then just drag to however many you wanted it to have. And it'll keep going with that pattern for you. Which is also what I did up here with the name. So I just put it in once, and then I clicked and I dragged, or I drug I drug it. The reason why you have to do 2 sets here to show the program the pattern is because if I take it from just Monday, Tuesday, and I keep dragging, it's going to give me Saturday and Sunday as well, which kind of isn't a big deal, but we're trying to save time in, front loading all of this work. So then what would end up happening is you would have to go back and either hide these 2, so you would highlight them, and then, oh, it's not giving me that option. So then you'd have to go back and you'd have to delete those 2 values. So then in a way you're kind of creating work for yourself instead of taking it away. Same concept here. So we know the student name already. Who did you contact? Was it a parent? Was it a student? How did you contact them? What day did you contact them? Monday the 23rd. Any notes in the contact? And then yes, they've done the assignment. No, they haven't. For this one, the way that I have it worked out in my head is if they didn't do the assignment on Monday, I would just put a little dash. They didn't do the assignment on Tuesday, but they put it in on Wednesday. So I would put just maybe an X, or maybe say complete. And then I would put in their grade, and then whether or not they've done assignment, rinse and repeat for assignment 2, right? And then complete, and then maybe it was a 75, whatever it was. Clearly, Mr. V needs some remedial help. We all love Mr. V, so let's get Mr. V some help, right? Okay, that's about it for the low tech. I am going to go over real quick how to freeze and unfreeze things, because that's going to come up in your medium tech one. All you have to do is click on view and then freeze. How many rows do you want to freeze? How many columns do you want to freeze? The default is just 2. The more you want to freeze, you need to physically, well, not physically, but you need to go and click it. So if I want to freeze for some reason all the way to J, I would go click on J and then freeze up to current column. Same thing goes with the rows. If I want to freeze all the way to row 10, I would need to do that and then view, freeze up to current row. Benefit of freezing is that it doesn't matter how far down I scroll, that frozen part stays. So let's say that we were using this sheet for all 10 weeks. I would really want to consider freezing columns A and B, so that way when I scrolled and I'm over here looking at week 9, I still know that cell number 2 belongs to Jose, and I'm not getting confused in all of that. But again, that's up to you whether or not you would want to freeze your A and your B. For your medium tech, I already did freeze that. I froze row 1 and columns A and B just because there's some more stuff going on here. So column A and B frozen, row 1 frozen. This one you're going to see has drop downs already created for you. So if I am, we're going to pick on some other teachers now. So we're going to say Travis, Courtney. Sorry, Courtney, I can't spell. And Amanda. So I've already put in my kiddos. I know that on Monday I did not contact Travis today. And because Travis is an older student, I do have the ability to say, oh, I contacted, or whether or not I contacted student, parent, or I didn't contact him today. So because I didn't contact, I obviously don't have a contact method. That would all stay blank. Assignment 1, if he's online, I could see whether or not he completed it. So let's say on Monday, way to go, Travis, he completed it. He made a 70. So he has not completed assignment number 2. So then we're going to just kind of fill this in a little bit more. On Tuesday, Travis reached out, and he reached out via email. And so that date would be 3/20. I keep going back. 3/24. He needed assistance on math work, right? So assignment 1, I would leave that blank, and then he has not completed it. He's not completed it yet, so there's nothing there. So the next day, did not contact, but he has completed the assignment. If you wanted to, especially for the lower grades, if you're going with the medium tech and you wanted to change any of these drop downs, what you would do is you would click on cell number 2, scroll all the way down to the bottom of where I have the drop downs. It's just going to make life a lot easier because it'll change all of the cells at the same time. To change any of that, we're going to click on data, go to data validation. I have it as a list of items, so then that's where the little arrow comes down. The show validation help text, what that's going to do is in the cell itself, it's going to say click and enter. It's going to prompt you to enter stuff. So let's say that we're teaching a lower grade. We went with the medium tech. Well, we may not be contacting this student, so I can go ahead and take that off. Or if, let's say, we wanted to say student, and we know that some of them live with grandparent, right? So we can put that in as well. We can take it, we can add or delete as whatever it is that you'd like. Here with the contact method, that's probably going to be what's going to need to be tweaked just a little bit more. So I put email, phone, remind dojo. The one that I'm missing, so I'm going to add this for everybody, is exact path. Exact path, Play-Doh. And if I'm wrong, somebody please reach out to me so I can go ahead and fix that. Or since I showed you how to do it, you can fix it too. It's up to you. Same thing too with your assignment completed. If you wanted to add anything else, you could. The only other option I think I meant to add in here was the dash. Like has maybe did not complete or just not applicable type of deal. So there's that. This little line here, or the invalid, that's not supposed to be there. I'm not 100% why that keeps popping up, but it's really simple to get rid of just in case for some reason yours is keeping it when you make a copy. So you'll go to data validation, and then remove validation. You don't want to do what we do with the database and do kind of this click all here, because if I do that, and I click data validation, I remove validation, all of my stuff that I have is going to go away. Luckily, we have the back arrow or Command C if you're on, I'm sorry, Command Z like zebra if you're Mac, or Control Z if you're on PC to get all of that back, or just the back button. So right here. So this one's a little bit easier. I can click on column E and F at the same time and get rid of it altogether. So E and F. Once I've done that and I've gotten rid of that validation that's there for, I don't know why. Once I've gotten rid of that, the prompting arrow goes away. Now, My last one is going to be my high tech, and this is the one where it's going to take me a couple of minutes to go ahead and input all of the data that I need. But as we move forward, especially if we're staying for more than 2 weeks at online learning, this one I really feel is going to save you the most amount of time, just because I've taken my 15, 20 minutes, I've input all of my kiddos, and all I have to do is just a couple of clicks every single time I contact them. So headers stayed the same, day, whatever day that I'm looking at contacting them. The difference here is with your student name. So I used Mr. V's class, and I didn't leave the day specific here. So that's an option across all 4 boards. It's really whatever it is that's going to make it the most easy for you. I just try to front load a couple of things for you to make your data inputting just a little bit easier. Okay, so let's say that right out of the gate on Monday, I needed to contact a student. I could either put Monday or I could just do the contact date. I really feel, for me personally, that those are redundant. I don't see why we couldn't get rid of one of those. But that, again, that's up to you. Maybe you need to know both what day of the week it was plus the date. It's really up to you to make the log your own. So on Monday, I had to contact. Oh, and I spelled the name wrong. I had to contact Richard's mom, right? Because that's pre-K, so I'm probably not going to be talking to the student unless it's my weekly update with them, or Mr. V's weekly update with them. I contacted the parent. I put how I contacted them. The contact date would be 3/23. The notes on the contact. So I front loaded that as well using the same type of data validation. I clicked on the cells. I went to data validation, and then I kind of put in some basic ones. Required assistance had not turned in, or maybe it's my weekly check-in that Mrs. Head wants us to complete every single week with the kids. So in that case, of course, my contact would be a little bit different. But the notes on the contact, those are just a couple of options that I have. This one too, just because I have a drop down doesn't mean that I can't put something else that I want there. So maybe they didn't require assistance. Maybe they had turned in their work, or it wasn't my weekly check-in. It was responding to parent concern over grades. So it's going to tell me that it's invalid, but honestly, you just need to ignore it. You still have the ability to put in other contacts as well. But then everything else for the grade, the assignments, already had the dash input. But everything else for the assignments, whether or not it was complete, did not complete, or did not apply, the assignment grade, all of that's the same. In my original, when I was editing, I made a little boo-boo, so I had to go back and edit this because I was saying a couple of things that wasn't true. So with the high tech, there I put a little filter, and I was under the impression that if I clicked on the filter, I could sort A to Z, and it would take everything with it, but that's not how it works. So I kind of went back in and I input some information, and I'm going to show you how that needs to work now. So we're going to say that on Monday we contacted the student, Monday's parent. I'm just going to go kind of back and forth, just inputting some information so that way we can see that it's all going to stay together. Remember what the thing with the high tech is that I am really front loading a lot of the information, and the big thing about the high tech, I'm inputting my information as life throws it at me. So I didn't contact today. We're going to say that I went through Remind. I'm just, again, kind of randomly just clicking just to show that all of that information is going to stay with me. So when I'm ready to submit this to my group leader, I'm going to click in column B, and I'm going to highlight all of column B. When I send this out to everybody, it will no longer have that filter, so we're going to ignore that. We're going to click on data, and then I don't want to sort range because it's going to do what the filter would do and only sort in here. I want to sort the whole sheet by that column, and I want to sort it A to Z. So I'm going to go through that a couple more times, and I'm going to draw your attention specifically so that way you can see that it's changing to row 7, Michael. So we contacted Michael on Thursday. Oh, actually, on Thursday we did not contact Michael, and we did not contact him with a phone call. So we're going to say that we're going to change that a little bit so it makes some sense. On Thursday we contacted Michael. We contacted him. It was our weekly student checkup. It was a phone call, and then the notes on contact. It was my weekly check-in with him, right? So we're gonna really pay attention what happens with Michael since he only shows up once. And since adding this piece in, you should see that it should pop up a little bit. So again, I'm going to click on column B, click on data. I want to sort my sheet. I do not want to sort my range. I want to sort the sheet by column B from A to Z. And you'll see that Michael jumped from row number 7 to row number 4. And all of that information that I input from Michael stays with him. So again, the difference really quickly running all through. This one is just, it's really blank to how to make that your own. You're given exactly what Dr. Rico wants, and it's just up to you to decide how you're going to input all of that information. Low Tech has a couple of things already input for you, and it's already, that first row is frozen. With your medium tech, as we're going through it, you kind of notice that things are getting a little bit, I don't want to say crazy, but they're getting a little bit crazier just because you're you're front loading a lot of the information so that way you're not having to re-input this every single week. So with your medium tech, you have your first row frozen and you have the columns A and B frozen just in case things go a little crazy. You're like, I've already done all of that, my contact, I just want to kind of I only want to see what I need to see when I'm needing to see it. Again, you can change any of the data validation drop boxes just by going to data. First, you need to select all of the rows that or all of the column that you want affected. I mean, I don't go all the way down to cell 1,000, but if that's what you wanted to do, all you have to do is just click the column at the top, data validation, or data validation, and then put in the whatever it is that you want to fix. Like I said, headers only. We're starting at the very bottom, which nothing. You make it your own, all the way up to high tech, where you front load a lot of information, but especially if it goes through longer than the 10 weeks, I really feel like that's going to be the most bang for your buck, because all you do is you duplicate it, and then, well, I got to get rid of all of this. So all I have to do is click on edit and then delete values, and I'm starting all over with a clean sheet.